Welcome to a football show, Monday edition, Victory Monday edition for basically everyone in the state of Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans winners out of 6 out of 7. They, of course, defeat the Denver Broncos on Sunday afternoon at Nissan Stadium. We'll get to that. Lots to discuss about Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, the eliteness of the defense, Zach. We will talk about the Tennessee Volunteers win over Missouri. And you know what? We get to talk about a Vanderbilt Commodores victory in the SEC for the first time in like 4 seasons.
2019,
October 19th.
Who was that,
2019.
by the way? Was that University of Tennessee?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Stop that. So, welcome to the show, of course. We are here at the pharmacy. Yes, it is a November Monday. And yes, it is a little chilly, but it's still gorgeous. It's still out. It's still a beautiful beer garden back here at the pharmacy. And by the way, hi, Zach. This is
Hello.
Zach. I'm
Hi.
Braden. I will say this. You can sit inside at the pharmacy.
Yeah.
The food tastes just as good inside as it does outside.
That's correct.
I know Titans fans are worried about the dome stadium and we like real grass and everything, but you can sit inside.
You can see that the real grass really helped ease injuries yesterday.
We'll talk about Caleb Farley. We will talk about Elijah Molden, who got injured, of course, yesterday. Half the defense didn't play to begin with, but we are still here with a victory to celebrate. And you should come to the pharmacy.
And wiener shots.
Wiener shots?
Wiener shots.
Like
that's a video shot.
Oh,
Get the video shot of the wiener.
Like a close-up of your wieners.
Yeah, here you go. It's
Got
wiener
it.
picks.
Okay, wiener picks. That's right. During the pharmacy ad read, we're talking about wiener picks. I love it. No, look how delicious this is. We've got the currywurst, the knackwurst, and the Jagerwurst. It's delicious. The tots are great. And I will say this Dijon mustard right here, the best mustard in the city of Nashville.
If I had a fork near me, I'd probably put it in there and I would just go on camera and just stick
put the whole wiener.
Oh, I wouldn't get the whole wiener, but I'd take a big bite.
How much do you think? Never mind. Weiss Liquors. Weiss Liquors. Shop at Weiss Liquors, by the way, locally owned and operated since 1932. Make sure you search Uber Eats. Weiss Liquors. Have the booze delivered to your house in as quickly as 20 minutes, Zach.
They drive so you can drink.
There you have it. And, of course, the Kingston Group, buildkg.com. If you're going to make a big decision about your house, if you're going to do a renovation, big project, a new addition, whatever you want to do, you're buying a house, you want to do anything to that new place, you're making decisions, talk to the Kingston Group, buildkg.com. They are, again, locally owned and operated here in Nashville for over a decade. Same thing with the pharmacy, same thing with Weiss Liquors, and, of course, same thing with Kingston Group. So just, look, support local businesses. That's all that we ask you to do here on a football show, and celebrate victories across the board in the state of Tennessee. What else should people do if they would like to be notified of the products that we deliver?
They should be turning on notifications on basically any kind of platform. Search for 40 Sports. We're talking Twitter. We're talking Facebook. We're talking YouTube. Turn on those notifications for 40 Sports. That way you never miss a beat. And come on to YouTube, come on to Facebook, and just come talk to us. It's going to be great. We have already got some comments here. Complimenting the wieners here, and then also complimenting how great pharmacy is and how classy it is compared to people complaining about UT, which we will get to later on down the road.
Ooh.
So come on in as well, because we'll be inside. So now you can't use, it's too hot or it's too cold, it's too bright. We're going to be inside, so come be an audience member.
This is nothing is more Nashville than complaining about it being too hot over like 70 degrees. And complaining about it being too cold, like under 60. And you're like, the only time I'll come sit on a patio is between 60 and 70 degrees. That's the most Nashville thing I've ever heard of. So make sure you come on out, man. For lunchtime, bring the kids. After work, bring the kids. You can get out of here for like $50, family of 4. We do it all the time. My wife and my 2 daughters, they love the tots. They love the mustard. And, of course, you got the brats, the burgers, the beer. What are you drinking there, man? What are you drinking?
This is a Parlor Oktoberfest, which I would never have in my life guessed by just the look of it that it was actually an Oktoberfest beer.
I love that.
I do
love
too.
A good Oktoberfest.
This is like right up my alley.
It's not Das Boot, which is probably the nickname for the Titans punter at this point. We'll get to Stonehouse as well. The rookie having an exceptional season. All right, we'll break down the game. We will obviously talk SEC. A lot of Titans here today. Quick scheduling note before we get into anything else. That is on Friday. Thursday's show is not going to happen because the game is going to happen Thursday night. So we thought, why not wait until after the game to do the show? So Friday morning, about 10 a.m., that's when we're going to do the show. We'll recap everything from the Titans. This is the week, basically, that the SEC is off, essentially.
Yes.
They're all playing like FCS teams with the exception of like Tennessee and maybe a few others, but mostly off. So we're going to spend the entire show on Friday, 10 a.m. live, God's time, Central Time. From one of us will be live from Green Bay, and we will recap the entire game.
Yes.
Hopefully, I am.
Are you keeping it a secret of which one of us is actually going to be at Green Bay?
No, I'm going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, not too hungover on Friday morning. I'm going with a few enablers.
Well, let me say this:
The
there's these packets I saw that people swear by. Now, not the packets that you kind of see everybody have nowadays, the little electrolyte packets filled up with sugar.
Oh yeah.
There's a new one. I think it's called Water Can Boy or Attaboy Water Can or Water Boy something. Anyway, no sugar, so you actually feel a whole lot better. It's just pure electrolytes that is made. It is specifically made not for hydration.
Okay.
But for hangovers.
Get rid of the toxins.
Yes.
Yeah. There's one that's
or you just get the party patch.
Yeah, there's one that's just get the IV.
No, just the patch.
There's one that you can just wear throughout the night.
Wear. It's just a patch.
Does it keep you warm too?
No.
Look, the high is 29 degrees on Thursday evening. So it will be interesting. We'll give you a little preview of the game as well. But again, recap Friday, a football show, half live from Lambeau, 10 a.m. That's the other episode this week that we're going to do. So make sure you check that out. We'll have some stuff planned for you guys as well as we head up there and make the journey to football Mecca. And if you're a Titans fan and you've not been, obviously it's a little late to plan the trip. But I will say, like, it is the Mecca of football experiences to go to a cold game at Lambeau Field. Everyone should do it. It's like going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. If you're an SEC fan, like, you should make the trip to Lambeau one of these years if you get a chance to do it. So big game coming up, and we'll preview that one a little bit later on. Before we get to Tannehill and how gritty and tough he was and all the cliches and how good the Titans defense was, injury updates for your favorite Titans player in the history of the world.
Well, I will say that I'm not here to do anything other than that just sucks. It sucks for Caleb Farley that on a special teams action, he suffered a back injury. We do not know the severity of it, but this is more than likely an aggravation of the old injury that he had in college where he also had the surgery on. Obviously, maybe it's not as bad as what the tweet Ian Rappaport puts out says, because he was the first one to report it, and it suspiciously came after Mike Vrabel was done with his press conference. I don't know if you noticed the timing of that tweet, but obviously he wasn't in the mood to answer questions about the offensive coordinator, so he's definitely not going to be in the mood to answer questions about Caleb Farley.
And Vrabel's press conference was 15 minutes earlier
yes.
than it normally was. Totally coincidental.
Yeah, totally coincidental.
Probably.
But
maybe, allegedly.
But I hate it for Caleb Farley because a guy struggling with all kinds of issues, not only, just being able to stay healthy, but now, he had issues with learning the playbook, being able to enact the plays, was starting to make some headway on special teams. They had all kinds of injuries, which we'll talk to you about on the defense, but they were looking for ways to not put Caleb Farley on the field for defense yesterday. So it's just, hopefully it's not like some debilitating injury, but obviously just another bump in the road or major bump in the road for a guy that just never could get off the ground and live up to that first round pick and all that athletic profile. And I hate it for him.
No, and first of all, I was not suggesting that you were rooting for the injury. No one is doing that, but just it just
you'd be surprised what you see on Twitter.
That's fair. That's fair. I want to make sure it's clear that I was not suggesting that that's what you were doing, because nobody's rooting for that. But back injuries, neck injuries, head injuries, all stuff that's super scary, of course, in football. So we hope that there's like a personal, we hope he's okay thing. And then there's like the football element, which is it's not going to look good on J-Rob if he never comes back, which is, again, a totally separate conversation from is he doing okay? Like, we want him to be okay. So Elijah Molden banged up as well with the growing, I think, as well.
Yeah, there's a good chance that Caleb Farley probably is not going to be coming back this year. I would say that based on Vrabel's comments that they don't risk players' health, that he even said today, I think that means that he's going to be one of the many players that go on IR this year.
Yep. Many players who have gone on IR, almost as bad as last year. So we'll get to that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Zach Lyons, Braden Gall here on a football show brought to you by The Pharmacy. And I believe...
Did you do the Kingston Group read? Did I miss that?
I talked about the Kingston Group.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. And then we had Weiss Liquors as well. George says, I'm all about the patio life between about 45 and 85 degrees as long as I'm dressed appropriately. It is about appropriate attire. My wife is concerned about my general well-being. My father and my cousin are all going to the game, and she is concerned about my well-being in the cold. And I'm like, as long as it's not raining, 30 degrees is not that bad if you're prepared for it. It's just, it's not like -10. -10 is when shit gets real.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a difference between, you got the sweatshirt on. I mean, you probably only need corduroy pants, sweatshirt, probably only need about 2 more layers for 30 degrees, right?
Probably, yes. So
it's because of the wind up there
it's
too.
the wind and the wet. If it's raining, that's your entire night is screwed. Like your whole night is screwed. So if you're going, you need the hard shell on the outside. Just make sure you pack that. But like if you do a thermal layer, like a base layer with like some dry wick that's real warm, and then you do like one fleece and then like one jacket, you're fine. Like you can 30 degrees is not that bad, especially after a couple glasses of whiskey. So everybody's going to be okay. But 85 degrees, I don't know, George. That's a little warm for my taste on a patio.
Not for me. I could probably go all the way up to 100.
But with clothing on? Like
yeah, well, I mean, I could do it naked too, but I think I would get arrested.
I meant like at a pool with like a swimsuit, 85 to 100 is comfortable.
85 here in Nashville is very comfortable.
It's humid as shit in this town. Anyway,
it's just t-shirt. And listen, I don't dress fancy. Just t-shirt and athletic pants.
Tim asks, "Are you going to be rooting against the Titans, Braden?" No comment. Here's what I root for every single year: the Titans and the Packers to play in the Super Bowl. True story. That's what I want to see every single year. Is the Titans?
I don't think it's happening this year.
It's not. But that's what I root for seriously since 1997 when I moved here, when the Titans got here. I've rooted every single year for the Titans and Packers to play in the Super Bowl. And I had a chance last year, actually, going into the 1 seeds on both sides.
Yeah.
So, all right. Talking about injuries, Ryan Tannehill, you mentioned Vrabel not wanting to put a player out there to get themselves hurt. I think it's interesting that some of the decisions they made to hold back Jeffrey Simmons, hold back Bud Dupree, hold back Amani Hooker, guys that you want them to play on Thursday if you need them to and they're close to being ready to go. You kind of hold them back for a short week. But you don't hold Tannehill back because you needed him. And he goes out there, certainly rusty at the beginning, but he was huge on third down in the fourth quarter. He made a couple of big explosive plays with, you guessed it, Zach, a wide receiver.
Just not the wide receiver you're expecting.
Although
I'll take it.
Although Treylon Burks did make a couple of nice plays.
Yeah.
But Nick Westbrook-Akine, career day, best day of his entire career, off a flea flicker. I just thought Ryan Tannehill, toughness, the scramble there when he ran and actually picked up a big first down to score that drive. Again, there was some rust. The running game didn't work, third down conversions. But when it came down to it, Ryan Tannehill made big plays in that game, and that is the difference between Malik Willis and a starting NFL quarterback.
Well, you look at it and you think that, well, even obviously gimpy Ryan Tannehill, which he was not full strength, is still better than a full health Malik. And heck, you also saw it on the handoff that was suspiciously the weirdest fucking play call. I mean, I've never seen an offensive coordinator that has the worst time.
We might argue about that one though. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, there's no argument unless we're both agreeing, and then it's not an argument, because if you're disagreeing that it was poor timing, it
all right, let's finish saying positive things about Tannehill before we begin the weekly Todd Downing discussion.
When people bring up games and they say this team cannot win unless the run game works, they cannot score points unless the run game works, point to this game. I'm sure there's another game in 2019 that I'm forgetting that it has worked like that. I want to say it's either the Tampa Bay or the Carolina game, maybe even the Chargers game. But there are games where this is a game where Ryan Tannehill, I think, dropped back to over 30 times. I think he even attempted over 30 passes. And then on top of that, you have no interceptions, 2 passing touchdowns, and 255 yards in the air. And he's injured.
All of the first downs came through the air.
And listen, not only is he injured, not only did the first down passes all come through there, like you said, the fact that Derrick Henry was a non-factor. I mean, hell, you could have told me that Derrick Henry was injured. That's how much of a non-factor he felt like yesterday. And that's because the run blocking was horrendous, but because also the Denver defense sold out yet again. And normally when they sell out, you don't have anybody to step up and make plays, but they were able to make plays despite Robert Woods being a steaming pile of dog crap in that game.
So I looked at some of the, by the way, excellent memory by you. Tampa Bay, they had 72 yards rushing in 2019. That was Tannehill's second start, I believe, after the Denver game, which brings back wonderful memories for everybody. They had 97 yards rushing the week before against the Chargers and won. 72 is really bad for this team. So good memory on you with 2019. They were 6 of 16 on third down, so not great, but they were good late, and I'll get to that in a second. 14 first downs, not a lot. We expected this to be a low-scoring game. 2 first downs via the run, 1 via the penalty, and 11 via the pass, which means they were converting with Ryan Tannehill, whether it was third down or second down. It was all about Ryan Tannehill. The last 2 drives in particular, 17-yard completion on 3rd and 11 to Austin Hooper for a first down. That was the third down conversion right before the Malik Willis play. 3rd and 5, 8 yards to Austin Hooper, first down. And then, of course, 3rd and 4, the pass to Chig where he breaks it and goes for 41 yards. Certainly the third and 7, the last one was an incomplete pass. But 3 of their last 4 conversions on 3rd down were because of Ryan Tannehill. And the big plays were because of Ryan Tannehill. I thought the whole thing on offense, you got to give the credit to Ryan Tannehill.
And look, listen, if he hadn't came off a 2-game stretch where he didn't play and obviously was working through rust, which very few people wanted to give that thought. They're like, oh, well, he just sucks. Let's put in Malik Willis because he's just not right. No, he just has to get there. He has to warm up. A 2-game stretch. I mean, he's not playing, warming up. It's take a few hits. Sometimes it's got to happen like that. And he was the reason why the Titans were able to put up any points.
Yep.
And that's just plain and simple. It wasn't because of Derrick Henry. It wasn't because of anything other than Ryan Tannehill probably doing his best, I guess I would say, and gutsiest performance. I don't know if I'd say best, but I think it's like the Vrabel win.
It's a hell of a gutsy performance.
It's like the Vrabel win a couple weeks ago where we talked about that is probably his best win. It may not look pretty, and this Ryan Tannehill win did not look pretty. It's not the box score darling game, but it's probably his best and gutsiest win, hands down.
I think Tannehill showed a lot of I'm not going to make the comparison to former quarterbacks who played for the Titans, but there was that scramble where the guy clips him by the ankle. He picks up the first down and then doesn't really leave the game and then throws the touchdown pass after that. That's some old school football type of stuff. Like you want to be a part of this team. I don't know. I don't think there were ever any questions. And I think we talked about this last week. I don't understand any questions about Ryan Tannehill's toughness or leadership or commitment. You can ask questions about, can he read a playoff level defense on 3rd and 7 in the fourth quarter of a playoff game?
Let me say this.
Sure, but
this is a playoff level defense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going by the sheer numbers of it, obviously the offense sucks and the team sucks, but Denver has one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they passed on them. And that was the strength, really, is the pass defense. And they passed on them with guys like Nick Westbrook, Traylon Burks, and Robert Woods. And we talk about it, and I'll reiterate it again. Robert Woods has got a poo-poo. And I'm kind of sick of it, and I hate it because I think a lot of it has to do with injury. I think some of it is new quarterback, and not necessarily a new offense because it's kind of the same family.
Not another receiver to help him for a big chunk of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that I've gotten to the point where, because the acquisition cost was so low and the risk was so low, that I still think he's been a valuable member of the team from a development standpoint. Younger players, guys that it's all intangible stuff. But at some point during a 17-game season, you have to produce statistics.
Mm-hmm.
You have to catch the pass that's thrown to you, which he generally does. He has extremely high catch rate.
Yesterday was just one of those days. Nothing could go right for him. And listen, Tannehill was slinging it and throwing bullets into double and triple coverage and hitting his receivers in the hands.
Yep.
They were catchable balls. And that's the thing to me, is that everything I saw a few people talk about the Jeff Swaim passing the very first drive or whatever. And they're like, well, it wasn't anywhere near him. Well, how can it hit someone in the fucking hands but not be anywhere near him? It's an off-target throw, but a catchable ball.
I'm trying to remember. I was watching a game with a buddy, or maybe it was my dad, and it was the same kind of thing, where the quarterback makes the throw, and it's one of those where two people have the instant reaction to the play and haven't seen the replay yet. And I think it was my buddy, and I was like, dude, you got to catch that. You know how you have that reaction when you see a play happens and the ball goes and it flies over a receiver. And you're like, dude, you got to catch that. And the guy's like, throw needs to be better. And then they run the replay and it hits him in the hands. And you're like, I don't know where else he's supposed to throw it.
Yeah. No, listen, it wasn't a great throw because obviously Tannehill, this is the beginning of the game, and he already been sacked once, I think, before this pass. And Tannehill was kind of moving around like there was a bunch of pressure, and there really wasn't. It was a pretty good pocket. So he created his own. He started seeing ghosts. And then,
which with this offensive line, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. And he threw it, and it wasn't a great pass, but it was a catchable pass. If it hits you in the hands, and first off, maybe Jeff Swaim should get the cement out of his shoes and actually go out there and start running towards the ball. Catch it so you can actually get some yards. I just am sick of Jeff Swaim.
I think the cement's actually in the feet.
Yeah.
It's not
the actual feet. Instead of bones, instead of bones, it's cement.
It's actual cement. But you know what? He's still the best run blocker of the tight ends on the team.
Yeah. That's debatable, in my opinion.
Tune into Football and Other F Words in the Mike Herndon Show to hear you two yell about Jeff Swaim's value to this team.
He loves Jeff Swaim.
It's not going to be Chig and Hooper. It's going to be Swaim and one of the two. I could just hear his voice already repeating it. All right, we're here at the pharmacy, of course, over in East Nashville. Make sure you come on by. Great place to grab lunch. We got the Kingston Group. Support them as well if you're making a big decision about your house. BuildKG.com is the website. Weiss Liquors as well. Uber Eats, search Weiss Liquors. Andrew, they'll deliver the booze.
They drive so you can drink.
There you go. Andrew's the manager. If you're, I'm a little intimidated by wine selection. I'm not a big wine guy. I know you like wine from time to time.
I buy whatever looks pretty.
There you go.
I know what I like. Look, I like the Sauvignon Blanc. So I'm always going to go Sauvignon Blanc first and white. It's always going to be from New Zealand. And if I go to reds, it's usually Argentina or Chile. All right. And usually a Malbec or a red blend.
Okay. I
just stay in my wheelhouse. I don't have to venture out.
So if you do want to venture out, maybe the wife wants you to venture out or somebody else wants you to venture out, and you go into Weiss Liquors, just ask Andrew, hey, can you give me some help with some wine or some bourbon? He'll give you some great advice and he'll help you out there because it can be intimidating. I agree with you. I stay in my lane too, but sometimes it's okay to venture out a little bit. So Weiss Liquors, Kingston Group, and of course right here at the pharmacy. Defense.
Let's go to this play. Let's talk about this play that you think was the right play call at the right time.
I didn't say that. I said the reason it didn't. Okay, I haven't said this yet, so we probably should say it.
Yeah.
The Malik Willis play call. I don't have a problem with the play call because Malik Willis has been the starter for 2 straight weeks, and he should know how to hand the football off. He has done that play, the zone read option. That has been the only thing he did in college for his entire career. The only thing that I feel comfortable with Malik Willis truly doing is walking in and handing it off like that. Now, did he and Derek did Derek take the ball? I don't know what happened. I don't think, and what did Vrabel say? I texted you this today after Vrabel's press conference.
It was something like players play, but teammates are more important than players. And
Yeah. So he basically says, because he was asked about the play call.
Like ring around the rosy, bullshit.
Players are more important than calls. Teammates are more important than players. Now, the first half of that, I understand. The call is the call. You've prepared for the call. The call was something you probably practiced and you studied. And
I contend that they do not practice these enough.
That's true. But let's pretend hypothetically that professional athletes practice this. And the call is made.
I don't think the coaches put it in there and practice it enough. You only have a limited amount of time.
His point is players are more important than calls. I agree with that. The players have to execute the play. They're the ones who have to get open and catch the football and make the read and throw the football and make the blocks and blah, 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 blah. And the player failed miserably. The 2 players, whether it's Derek or Malik, I don't know specifically. Teammates are more important than players. I think
it's some of the whole of the parts or whatever.
I guess that's how I took it too. Is like when they all work together, we are stronger. Blah 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 blah. But that's not an answer. Just say hey, we probably shouldn't have risked it there because that's 2 times they've done that now, and both times it was
3 times, but twice with Malik, but 3 times in general. They make these weird play calls. They've done it twice with Malik and once with Chig. They're overthinking it. And everything else is working. Your drop back pass game is working.
Wasn't working though.
Well, yeah, but you don't need the run game to work. Everything else is working.
That's true.
It's like when they went down the field with Deontay Foreman all the way down the field, and they were like, "No, now we're going to switch it up. It was working too good. We can't allow that. We cannot let it work."
So it was 3rd and 11 the previous set of downs. So it's not like it was great the previous set. They had run the ball on the previous down, I believe, and got a yard or nothing on 2nd and 2. They had gotten nothing. So then they bring him in. And because Derek hasn't worked all game, the running game hasn't worked all game, the running game didn't work the play before, I can see trying to bring in an athlete to get him into space on 3rd and 2 when you're in plus territory. Now, the result is, to me, the player's fault. Malik and Derrick Henry cannot fumble the football there. If nothing else, take it, eat it, and fall on it, and take the loss and punt the ball away. But you can't, the fumble is not on the play call's fault. Because the one thing Malik Willis should be able to do is run that handoff. That is the one thing.
Let me ask you a question.
He's a professional athlete.
Would the fumble have happened if it wasn't for that play call? Why are you putting Malik out there in 3rd and 2 in the 4th quarter when you're barely up ahead, when you got the game on the line? Why do you continue to do stupid play calls? I get that the execution.
I can't prove you wrong here. It's a counterfactual, but he has. How about this? If Malik Willis had not started the previous 2 games, I would have far bigger problems with it. But the fact that he ran the first team offense for 2 straight weeks and got them to a win. And then obviously,
but they really didn't
Kansas
run
City.
that type of play when he was playing in there. The play where he takes it out, they only did that like once or twice. That to me lets me know that they weren't really comfortable with that set. Even though he did in college,
I would love to know that. I would love to know that specific angle or whatever, like where he's handing it up, because they did a lot of him pulling it against Kansas City. Like he'd pull it and he'd run to the edge, and he'd pull it and he'd run to the edge. He did a lot of that. So if I'm Todd Downing or I'm Vrabel or I'm anybody on the offense, I saw him do it the 2 weeks before. The running game's not working. We feel like changing it up because we feel like we've been getting a look from the defense, and this is why we're doing it. Like I don't hate as much as the one where he hadn't played. Does that make sense?
I think the problem that I have with it is that it's a trend. I mean, it's now literally a trend that they get into these close games and the stuff on the offense is currently working, and then they inexplicably on third down decide we're going to try a completely different play that we know has not worked the last 2 times we tried trickery.
So you're talking about the Chig sweep in week 1 against the Giants, right? And then the Willis fumble against the Colts.
And then this one.
So the only difference I have between those two, because Chig hadn't played a game in the NFL, so I think you can make the case that
Malik hadn't played a game.
Exactly.
In the NFL.
Those two to me, I have a much bigger problem with. Again, it's more about, to me, Willis has 2 games of experience, 2 weeks of running this offense.
Just don't do it. Don't get cute. Why are you getting cute?
That's why they make all the money. I don't know, or not, or shouldn't make money.
Well, someone's probably not going to be making money for a while once the season's over.
If you had anything to do with it, we know what you would do.
Fire fucking Todd Downing.
All right, is that you?
Which now the question is, does he even I don't know where this came from, but now the question is, does he even call the plays? Like now there's apparently this thing where, because I saw it pop up yesterday before PK asked the question, does Todd call all the plays? Or
how do you feel about all the play calling or something like that was the question?
Yeah, something like that. Or he specifically asked, does Todd call all the plays?
And the answer today from Vrabel was yes.
Yeah.
Now
it was yes, but it was like a weird yes.
It was yes, and then he's like, he specifically calls He is the one who talks to the quarterback. He specifically says the words.
But apparently people think that Ryan Tannehill cut all the plays on the 1 touchdown drive, and then, now Tim Kelly calls a half. Tim Kelly does call a half. I love a good conspiracy theory on Twitter. But at some point, we just got – and I'm tired of people comparing Todd Downing to Shane Bowen. It's not the same situation.
No, it's not close.
Okay? We don't have to give Todd Downing any more time. And we can see what has happened with Shane Bowen. We know based on Oakland, Shane Bowen was a non-entity before he became DC and had the faux defensive coordinator thing going on with Vrabel. Todd Downing, we saw him in Oakland with Amari Cooper. We know what he is.
So
I'm tired of it.
Part of the reason,
I know. And his stupidity and no feel for game flow. No feel.
6 out of 7 they've won. Titans defense, speaking of Shane Bowen. So I ranked the starting 11 preseason defensive players for this team. Tell me, I'm not really trying to get into a debate about where they should be ranked. I'm just generally ranking them. Number 1, Jeffrey Simmons on the defense. Yep. Most important player on the defense. Inactive yesterday.
Is this when Harold Landry was?
Is with Harold Landry.
Okay.
So number 2, Bud Dupree.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't argue.
Inactive. Number 3, Christian Fulton. Inactive. Number 4, Danico Autry. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Stud. 10 pressures. Kevin Byard, number 5, played. Was there.
Yeah.
Number 6, Harold Landry. IR, missed the entire season. Number 7, David Long. In and out of the lineup all day yesterday because of the injury, because of how hard he plays. Very, very good player. Number 8, Amani Hooker. Inactive.
Yeah.
Number 9, Roger McCreary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, played. Thumbs up. Number 10, TR Tart.
Yep.
Okay, thumbs up. Played. Number 11, Zach Cunningham, IR, last player on the defense. Is that give or take roughly the rankings there? Meaning,
I'd agree with that.
Meaning they had
pretty much
2 players on IR, 4 inactive, and 1 guy got hurt.
Yeah.
And yet they still 40 pressures in roughly 50 dropbacks for Russell Wilson yesterday after 37 against Kansas City. I don't know what else we have to say about the defense, man.
Well, I mean, just got called like it is. It's elite. I mean, it is 100% an elite defense, and it was very good last year, and it's even better this year. And it's got arguably the weirdest personnel that you're going to see get fielded week in and week out, and they do it without 7 to 8 of their starters in the game.
It's remarkable, the defensive line depth. Like, what happens when all these guys come back?
Yeah.
And then they still have DeMarcus Walker and Rashad Weaver and Mario Edwards.
You know what you could do is technically, not to say you should take your best players off the field, but you can actually have a Harold Landry's probably sitting at home thinking, damn, where's all this fucking depth when I was there?
Like last season?
Yeah. Because, I mean, he typically, played every snap and all this stuff. And
Yep.
you're getting to a situation where you don't. Here's the thing to me about this defense. First off, fucking awesome. It's amazing. But these little piddly contracts that they give out to Kendall Lamb and Jamarco Jones and AJ Moore and these fucking losers that are losers. Take that money this year, John Robinson. Take those little $2 to $3 million contracts that you're giving out to these players and pay the guys that are good in your system. Don't let DeMarcus Walker walk just because you think that, well, we'll get another DeMarcus Walker. You got him. Pay him $2 million to stay another year. Pay him $3 million to stay another year. Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't, because you're talking about, first off, he's vet minimum, which is like $1 million. You're talking about $1 million pay increase. Instead of spending on the losers that you're spending on the proven guys.
So there's two arguments to that, which is, look, every year I'm finding these guys. I'm just comfortable and.
But now you don't have to.
I know. Look. I do think the younger, more talented pieces, like Deshaun Hand, might qualify, like that type of player, because he was a 5-star recruit, big time guy, didn't deliver on the hype at Alabama or in the NFL, and you kind of get him and you form him into a player. Edwards is the same way. But Weaver, for example, 8 pressures yesterday. He's a guy that is a part of your future.
Yeah,
like he's the replacement.
But you don't
for
have
Bud
to pay
Dupree.
him for a while.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, if you feel so comfortable with what you've got, the depth you've got, the ability to find guys and develop guys, I would much rather than invest on the offensive line, but not a $2 million deal. Invest on an $8 million deal.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Line.
What you're already spending the money year in and year out on these smaller contracts, right? Isn't the money better spent on Jamarco Jones, Jeff Swaim, and AJ Moore better spent on Andrew Adams?
I do like Adams,
Mario Edwards, and DeMarcus Walker. Isn't that money, those $2 or $3 million deals, better spent there to secure those guys that and then instead of paying a big ass Bud Dupree contract, you pay you Jeff Simmons.
Now you can,
and then you go down, and then you pay for the offensive line. Pay offensive line, draft wide receivers. By the way, 2023. That's my motto. Pay offensive line, draft wide receivers.
It's midterms of the season. There's this elect Zach, president of the offseason. I do think that if they think some of these guys are buildable pieces, meaning like
oh shit, we got 13 comments rolling in.
4 or 5. Like if those are 4 or 5 year players, like you're going to keep them around for a couple of years, and you see them having a lot of opportunity to get snaps, then I'm totally, like, on paper, clearly Mario Edwards is worth more. DeMarcus Walker is worth more than Kendall Lamb. Like that's not up for debate. I can't argue that point. I'm just saying it's clear that they are able to find these guys. T.R. Tart, Ola Adeni, like they can find guys, because that's what Vrabel knows the best. Like he is a defensive end.
You say that, but then you got to go back to the 2020 defense. So can you only find guys with Shane Bowen? And then what if Shane Bowen leaves and gets a head coaching job? Then where are you at there?
So Shane Bowen's the entire reason.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, at some point we got to start connecting the dots, right?
That's true.
So
you got to pay Jeff Swaim, though. He calls, as Stoney says, at least 8% of the plays.
I am. Listen, I don't know if you saw my tweet.
Jeff Swaim.
While we're talking about defense, I don't know if you saw my tweet yesterday where I said when John Robinson trades Big Jeff, in the offseason, he'll point to this game as the reason why.
You gave me a bunch of heartburn when I was reading.
The amount of people who did not detect the sarcasm and joking ness of the tweet it's always astounds me. I shouldn't be surprised, but it's always hilarious.
Well, it's Twitter. Communication is flat. It's 2-dimensional. There's no nuance to it. It's Twitter. What do you expect?
Yeah,
man? I love.
Well, I'm verified. They should trust me.
And the sewers are getting worse by the day. Maybe there's Twitter on Thursday when the game happens. Maybe there's not Twitter on Thursday. Who knows? Anyway, 37 pressures against Kansas City, which sounds like a ton, but 68 pass attempts. Mahomes ran the ball a bunch. They got a couple of sacks. So you're talking 37 pressures and about 80 dropbacks. This was 40 pressures in this is 80% of the time and about 50 dropbacks. They were after that ass. And I'm not pivoting to the Green Bay game, but I think it's going to be very, very similar because there's not weapons on the outside for Green Bay that can threaten. Denver didn't have those pieces. The difference is the running game. Green Bay is significantly better at running the football, but I think you have the same approach. Get after Aaron Rodgers because that offensive line for Green Bay is in trouble.
Listen, they're number 1 in total pressures, 214 total pressures. Now that's from PFF, and they round up your halves. So if you get a half a sack, you get 1 sack apiece.
So I'm 6'1".
Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't know what that means.
I rounded up a half.
I don't know how tall you are to begin with. That's lost on me. So 214 pressures, but they are, I believe, 5th or 6th least amount in blitz percentage. That means they send more than 4 rushers about 14-something% of the time. Not only that, they're 18th in spending in total defense and cap allocation towards total defense. They're number 5 or number 6 in offense allocated to the cap.
Clearly, it's working.
Yeah. So at this point, it's just what they do on defense is just, it's elite. What is going on right now is maybe even historic. I don't know the actual historic numbers, but this has to be, when you look at money spent, blitz percentage, amount of pressures, what they're doing on third downs, what they're doing against a run, what they're doing in EPA per play allowed, has to be some kind of like historic record.
And I think your boy Herndon tweeted this, like something like 60 yards per game rushing
Yeah.
since week 3, which is insane. I think the blitz point is really important because it was the same as last year.
Yeah.
They're
not a high blitz percentage ever.
And it opens up your entire defense. If you can, this is not rocket science when it comes to this. It's how the Giants beat the Patriots that were undefeated in 2007. If you can pressure the quarterback with your front 4, your front 5, and not have to bring extra people to disrupt the quarterback, which I think they'll be able to do against Green Bay, they're not going to have to bring extra people. You could sit back and do whatever you want in the secondary. You can be creative. You can be fun. You can spy the quarterback if you need to. You could do a lot of different things. And so I agree. It is remarkable. Shane Bowen, Mike Vrabel, that defensive front, what they've accomplished. I think it's extraordinary.
Let's get into this Packers game because
can I say something about Ryan Stonehouse real fast?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Ryan Stonehouse, the record all time.
Speaking of big wieners,
I don't even get the reference. Big feet. He's got big feet, so he must. Ryan Stonehouse, 51.4 yards per punt is the NFL all-time record set in 1940 of all times. Of course, Stonehouse is at 53.2.
Well, they call that the punting renaissance, 1940.
It was. That's back when Alan Amici. There's a name for you. Dig that one up. 51.4 is the all-time NFL single-season punt record, and Ryan Stonehouse is at almost 2 yards ahead of that at 53.2. So I think somebody on this show told everybody like back in like May.
We were big Stonehouse guys.
Hey, well, I'll give you the credit.
You were too. You were telling me all the stories.
Once I started watching him,
I was basing all my information on you.
No, I feel like once you watch the punts, you're like, oh, this is different. Like, and Brett Kern's pretty good. So.
And he's getting that accuracy down that everybody said, oh, you got to keep. That's
exactly what you said. That's a Twitter impersonation?
That's kind of ran into my Mike Herndon impersonation, but Mike was all Stonehouse all the time, so I don't want to get that misconstrued.
The best impersonation is like just punter Twitter. Like just when you get into a deep conversation about punters on Twitter, that's you're in a good place mentally. Yes, the Packers game, we can get into this a little bit because I do not think there are a lot of weapons on either side for both teams, although Treylon Burks comes back and shows that he's ready to go, at least.
I played 35 snaps, got 6 targets.
Yep. Christian Watson for Green Bay had 3 touchdowns, the biggest game of his career this past
fluke
on Sunday.
Which calling it now.
No, I think it's a fluke as well. But the 2 rookies drafted by both teams are doing things. Just put it at that. Alan Lazard's a pretty nice player, but the issue here is the offensive line for Green Bay. Vrabel talked about the running game for Green Bay. It's whichever team can run the football better. It's low scoring. Both defenses are really talented. Both defensive fronts are really talented. It's going to be physical. It's going to be cold, short week.
Green Bay's coming off an emotional win, big-time win in overtime. They lost some more players. They lost Wyatt off the defense. I mean, it's not
Sean Gary's out.
Yeah. Listen, you guys can complain about the Tennessee injury report, but I don't know if you saw Green Bay last week beat the Titans by 1 player on the injury report compared to their worst week last year, the Titans. I mean, it's bad in Green Bay, and I think it's going to be bad for both teams again. I mean, you might as well turn your phone sideways and get into landscape mode and just, have to zoom in because at this point, that thing is going to be fucking massive.
Some guy named Mike Herndon suggests, I have some great Twitter receipts from the first time I suggested Stonehouse might win the job, waiting till he's named first team All-Pro to bring him out. Why wait?
Danico Autry for All-Pro. We're starting it. In fact, Brett Coleman today has now jumped on the train that me and Mike have started 2 or 3 weeks ago. Autry for All-Pro, Autry for Pro Bowl. He's never been either, and it's time for him to be both.
And to both you and Mike, I will say this. I was on air at 104.5 when I said Danico Autry will be the most important player on the Tennessee Titans 2 seasons ago. when he was in the offseason. So Autry, we are big Autry stands here on the show, on the football show.
I don't
also, we're just amazing.
Yeah,
just basically
the most
as good as his
accurate.
wiener.
I think me, you, and Mike formed the most accurate
Triumvirate.
Triforce,
Nice
tripod of the media. So I mean, we'll throw a mic on there. Let me say this real quick about Autry as well. I don't know how many people watch or listen to or watch now because everything's on a video now.
Yeah.
Around the NFL podcast. I don't know if you're a big Around the NFL podcast, but there is a guy on there.
There's a producer on there that we know about.
Yeah, Titans Film Room, Justin Gravery's over there. Yeah. Chris Wessling. I don't know if you are familiar with his work, his written work, and everything. One of the best. First off, he's one of the best on the show. But he was one of the best writers, most insightful analysts and media members I've ever heard or read. And I was telling Mike, I said, Mike, who would fucking love Danico Autry? Chris Wessling. and Chris Wessling was a big guy on Logan Ryan when Logan Ryan was having his, almost all pro years and all this stuff. He's been a big supporter of Titans defense. He loved Mike Vrabel. And I'm thinking, man, if he had been around right now and got to see Danico Autry, we'd have some real movement on the all-pro Danico Autry front. But me and Mike will just have to create it.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can. We got by the way, we're here at the pharmacy, and we're talking about Green Bay. So I've got to at least point out the amazing wursts that are here, the bratwursts that are in front of us, the currywurst, the knackwurst, and the Jaegerwurst. You're the spiciest of the three of us, of the triumvirate, so you're clearly the currywurst.
Yeah.
I guess we'll give, of the knackwurst and the Jaeger, I think Knack is a little bit more basic, so I'll just
beefy.
It's
beefy, so maybe Mike, because
Mike's
he gets all
large.
the beef on the Twitter.
He's also a large guy too. He's much taller than me, so I'll be the Jaegerwurst. Mike Hearn is your Knackwurst. You got the Dijon mustard here. You got the Tots. You got the spicy beer mustard over there. It is spectacular. Now, I will say, if you are traveling to Lambeau Field as a Titans fan, which everyone should do, while this pharmacy wurst is the best wurst in the city, there's nothing like a cooked bratwurst in the parking lot of Lambeau Field. There's just not. It's
what makes it so? Is it
form.
just the environment, or are you letting your other senses influence your taste buds?
No. So there's an art to cooking a brat. The most important problem that Tennessee people do this.
Okay.
Tennessee people do this all the time. Not the pharmacy, of course. The most important thing to do when cooking your own brats at home is to not pop it. You cannot pop the brat. And if you cook it too long on a grill and it gets too hot, you're going to see the ends pop. All the juice is out at that point. You can't pop the brat. Never pop the brat.
So how do you prevent? What's the best way to prevent the pop brat?
Boiling your brats
in
like beer.
Yeah.
Onions and kraut.
Okay.
Onions and kraut go in the beer. You get the beer going. You put all the brats in there. They get cooked enough so that they're cooked all the way through, right? Then you put them on the grill just to sear them.
That's what I do.
Flip them. You got to be active hands on the grill, because you can't leave them there too long, because then they pop. Most important thing is do not pop the brat.
Don't pop the brats.
The amount of brats I've eaten at gatherings in the state of Tennessee where people are serving wonderful brats and the ends are just exploded. And I'm like, I look at my wife and she's like, don't say anything. I'm like, I'm from Wisconsin.
So should we have a call sign at the end as like smoke the rocks to don't pop the brats?
Don't pop the brats. I don't know. That's it. That's the end of the show. Thanks for watching a football show. Don't pop the brats. All right. So I think Vrabel talked about it. The Packers have run the football. Every single defense they faced this year, Dillon and Jones are both very good. I think that's going to be tough to stop. I think that the Packers are going to struggle to stop Derrick Henry. I don't think either quarterback is going to have a whole lot of time.
I think it'll be the most yards that they've allowed in a long time, because obviously when you have two really good running backs like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, it's hard to stop it. I mean, you're not talking about just one guy like Dameon Pierce or one guy like Melvin Gordon,
Saquon
which
Barkley
is like really half a guy.
I was going to say, Melvin Gordon doesn't count.
But like, obviously, since week 1 and week 2, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to contain these two guys, because they're also good at pass catching as well, pass blocking. Now, you are right. The offensive line is the tail of the game.
But all of that works.
Yeah. Because both of them suck.
Yeah, it's bad.
And it's horrendously bad. But the edge goes to the Titans defense in the sense that they may not have the most recognizable names through every level of the defense. Like there's always, you had Rashawn Gary, but you also have Kenny Young, and you have Jair Alexander. You have all these other players in there. You know, their linebackers are beat up though, but
yeah, they do not have Devondre Campbell,
yes.
pro last year, their middle linebacker. I'll say that I think it's one of the most talented Green Bay defenses I've seen in 25 years. But they're missing a couple of big pieces in the front seven, which is why I think Derrick Henry will have time. But they can get after the quarterback. Alexander will shut down anything that the Titans throw out there on the outside. Amos and Savage are solid, if not they're not as good as the Titans if Byard and Hooker are out there. I just think the weather. I don't think there's going to be any precipitation, but it's going to be cold. It feels like the same kind of Titans game. It feels like 13-6.
Well, you say that, but the last time they played Green Bay, they've gotten their shit kicked in.
It's a different Green Bay team.
It is, but you know, it's just something about the mystique of going to Green Bay in these winter months and just getting your teeth knocked down your fucking throat.
I think the key is, to your point about the emotional win over Dallas on Sunday for Green Bay, the key is because Aaron Rodgers was very confident going into that game, and he was saying so as much to the broadcast crew, and hey, don't forget, boys, like I'm the 2-time MVP kind of thing. Like there's a lot of arrogance to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, man, but I mean, like, where was that arrogance for like the first nine fucking weeks when you're on my fantasy team starting Aaron Rodgers? Where was that?
Well,
and then you're on my bench because I start Daniel Jones, and then that's when you decide to go off.
Well, it is about your fantasy team.
It is. Well, I'm obviously got a full control of Aaron Rodgers, so I'll start him this week against Tennessee, and he'll just shit the bed.
Oh, I would not play him against Tennessee. I would not start him against the Titans.
I'm still betting the defensive anytime touchdown.
I would absolutely bet that. What's funny is obviously I care deeply about both teams, and I'm watching both teams all the time. I've watched every play of both teams' season. I have zero faith in Matt LaFleur to do anything outside of number 12. Like, it is all Aaron Rodgers. There's lots of weird stuff going on in the locker room with the defense and Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator. There's a lot of we're not happy with the play calling and the usage. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff. It's very un-Titans, where the Titans feel very buttoned up and very professional about all of it.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was saying "fuck you" yesterday.
It's very strange. I would take Vrabel and I would literally get rid of everybody to get Vrabel and John Robinson as the head coach and GM of the Green Bay Packers. But I think the matchup, the key is, are they riding high because they figured something out, because Rodgers found the confidence, because Watson developed, or they figured out how to use Jones and Dillon together, like whatever it may be.
Yeah, I have a hard time buying in this, like, Watson suddenly gets it.
No, I don't
like, you know what I'm saying? And so if I don't believe in that, then I can't believe in this Green Bay team.
I would take the under 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah.
To your point, the key is, are they learning and figuring it out, and they ended the win streak, and that second half meant something? Or was it an emotional victory against an arch rival that they hate deeply, and they happen to make a couple of plays at home, and now on a short week they're going to get their teeth kicked in?
Yeah, you got to wonder how much is Aaron Rodgers wanting to just beat Mike McCarthy.
That's another factor. Like, there's a lot.
Now you're going into a much better Mike.
I think the Titans are going to whip that ass. Honestly,
wow.
I think the Titans.
Now you mean, but not in the scoreboard, but technically in the game.
No, Rodgers could have 2 broken thumbs.
Yeah,
he
landed on that a lot yesterday.
I have watched both of these teams, and I'm just telling you, the Titans' defensive line is going to eat on Thursday. I do think the Packers' running game will be slightly effective, and so the question then is, do they stop them to field goals?
Okay, so
13-9. 13-9 Titans.
When you say, before we headed to college, because we're running up against it, but when you say
Vanderbilt,
that they are going to dominate the offensive line, in your mind, who all is on the defensive roster starting?
Yeah, that's exactly what I asked you last week. I think Simmons plays.
Okay.
I don't know if Bud Dupree does.
Do these players that you're naming have to play for them to still dominate this Green Bay offensive line?
I don't think so. The Packers offensive line is not that much better than Denver. I do think left tackle Bakhtiari is rounding into form. Like he was out for so long.
Took a while to get.
Took a long time. That's kind of what I mean by, like, are they finding some things?
Yeah.
Because again, it's hard to count out the guy who's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and at home, and to your point, a place where the Titans have struggled. I just think that the Titans are too buttoned up top to bottom as a franchise.
Gotcha.
I think they are more on the same page, pulling in the same direction. Alignment. I think that is, they've been dealing with these injuries on the defense all season. Last season, they've been dealing with the offensive line issues all year. I think Derrick Henry will find some space. I think Jones and Dillon will find some space. I think it will be lots of handoffs, lots of quarterback pressures, lots of field goals. 5 field goals, 1 defensive touchdown.
I like it.
That's what I'm traveling up to Lambeau to see. I'm going to go watch that. So I'll take the Titans in the game. So there you go. And then Friday, 10 a.m., we'll do a recap pod here on a football show. So no show on Thursday. We'll come back and do an immediate reaction at 10 a.m. Whatever state of mind I'm in. So we'll do that. All right. Move to some college football.
Let's do it.
First of all, Kingston Group, Weiss Liquors, Pharmacy. Make sure you support all those great local businesses. Weiss Liquors, of course, right over there on Gallatin, right near the Titan Stadium. So if you're leaving the Titan Stadium after a home win, swing by Weiss Liquors for some celebratory booze. If you're leaving the Titan Stadium after a loss, which only happened, I believe, in week 1, right? Pick up some booze to drown your sorrows. Either way, Weiss Liquors has the booze. And, of course, Kingston Group, buildkg.com. So make sure you check out them. Nashville's locally owned custom home and remodeling firm. Do not make any decisions about your house. Big financial decisions. Trust somebody with that. Just have a conversation with the Kingston Group. They will take care of you.
They are just so steadfast with the Kingston Group, unlike national media and the Colts.
Right.
Because they all trash the Colts, and then, they get one win, and, now we all love the Colts again.
Look at that. That's the Jaeger Wurst right there. So if you come to the pharmacy, get you a Jaeger Wurst. It's hefty. SEC football, Tennessee Vols dominate Missouri. They played with their food a little bit, kind of like that.
Yeah.
They played with their food a little bit.
You regret touching that,
Nope,
didn't you?
I don't. And then eventually pulled away and scored 66 points on Missouri, a team that was top 3 in the SEC on defense. So.
Well, I'll say this about University of Tennessee because I am okay with them running up the score. Fuck Missouri. Fuck any other team. It does not matter that with what was it, like 30 seconds left, they scored that last touchdown or something. Like, who gives a shit? What?
It's a beauty contest.
You know what? If you don't want them to score, maybe your defense should fucking stop them. That's just where I'm at. It's kind of like when Cam Newton made that score, and then that old white woman wrote that letter to the Tennessean and complained about it. You know what? Here's how I feel about it. If you didn't want Cam Newton to score and see him fucking dance in your end zone again, maybe the defense should have fucking stopped.
Was that Avery Williamson that popped him when he was in the end zone?
Oh, I'm sure it was. That fucking loser. Everybody was all up in arms when he walked away, and look at him now. You don't even know where he's at.
I think he went to the Jets first, and now I don't know.
Yeah.
That letter is one of my favorite things that's ever happened in Titans football history, by the way. That letter, just I'm going to write a letter.
It's like Karen before Karen existed. Nobody knew that the thing was called white women Karen that, asked for your manager. But she was the Karen of Karens, the pinnacle of Karens.
I think Cam Newton's ridiculous. His personality is just kind of ridiculous. Not bad. I just think it's ridiculous. But to write a letter to an organization to tell them to stop dancing is just the stupidest.
It's ridiculous.
Shit ever.
But anyway, I digress.
This isn't Pop Warner football.
Yeah.
If you want to teach 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds about how to be good sportsmen, fine. This is a playoff caliber team.
Let me say something. Don't fucking waste your time teaching your kids that, because guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. Because if they're gonna be good, a good and excellent football player at the next levels,
it won't matter.
It does not matter if they're a good sportsman. You know who was a great sportsman guy? Jay Barker, and now he just travels around Alabama churches just to talk to people.
He makes a lot of money being a.
I'm sure he does, but he wasn't a very good fucking football player at the next level, was he?
No. Here's the thing: the Tennessee Volunteers are one of the top 4 teams in college football, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I've said this
no doubt
for weeks. It is Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio State, and Michigan. They are the 4 best teams in college football. Full stop. That's it. TCU, great win over the weekend, but they are not better than Tennessee or Georgia or Michigan or Ohio State.
You know what that win proved to me? Texas isn't back. And I was told. Texas is back.
But
that's my Mike Herndon impression.
That one is very clear. But it is a beauty contest at this point because you only have 2 more games: South Carolina and Vanderbilt. You're going to be heavy favorite. I think they're 3 touchdown favorites against South Carolina. They're going to be huge favorite against Vanderbilt. By the way, we'll get to Vandy. Congratulations. But if it's a beauty contest and game control matters and how you look matters to people, then I don't care. It's
and
fine.
Pac-12 went their way, right?
Pac-12 took a dump on itself. UCLA lost. Oregon lost a close game. I don't think they should fall too far. But now all you got left in the Pac-12 is USC. So Clemson's lost. Now you got USC's the only one left. They've got to play UCLA, Notre Dame, and then a Pac-12 championship game. So they could easily lose again. They need TCU to lose a game. But here's what it's going to come down to. Like I said 2 weeks ago, it is going to be 1 loss Michigan versus 1 loss Tennessee for the last spot. That is what it's going to be in my guess. And when that happens, I think Tennessee will get in based on strength of schedule and resume with better wins. If Michigan loses by 3 or something close at Ohio State,
what if Michigan
that's where I'd
wins?
be worried.
How does that affect Tennessee's chances?
I think Ohio State has a slight edge over Tennessee at that point. Maybe. how does it happen matters.
Yeah.
But this is why you score. This is why you score the next. This is why you go from 59
But according
to
to Boo, it doesn't really matter how much you score or how much you lose by or how much you win by.
Well, he was talking about. Are you talking about the loss?
Yeah.
Well, he was saying that both teams got dominated. Is
Yeah.
what he was saying, which technically is true.
Yeah.
Tennessee got dominated by Georgia. There's no question. But so here's the point. So would everybody else.
Yeah.
Let's not lie to ourselves. Congratulations to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Anchor down. First victory in the SEC since October 19th, 2019. And here's all I have to say about this, and I'll let you explore the studio space. Clear sign of progress for Clark Lee and the Vanderbilt Commodores in year number 2. Absolutely cannot argue.
Nope.
Factually, it is progress. Yep. Patience and investment is the name of the game on West End. If you want more than that, go root for another team. But you need patience and you need investment. And if you do those two things for Clark Lee, I think you'll see the rewards pay off in the end.
And I'll talk about Kentucky real quick. And that Will Levis sucks. I do not think he is a pro quarterback. I do not get it. And still, even during this game, after this loss, you still saw people expect or say, I think he'll be the second quarterback off the board. Look, if he's the second quarterback off the board to Houston Texans or Indianapolis Colts or whatever, oh my God, thank you. Thank you.
So I'll reach down and pick this up real fast. But I worked with Mel Kiper on Sunday or Saturday morning. And I asked him, I said, who's your big board right now for 2023? Like, how have the quarterbacks evolved this year? And he's like, right now, it's C.J. Stroud. He's my number one quarterback on the board, which I tend to agree with. I think Bryce.
I disagree a little bit.
And I think Bryce Young might be the guy I would take.
I don't think this quarterback class is as good as everybody wanted to make it out to be, by the way. I
actually completely agree with you. He said Anthony Richardson will go in the first round. So Anthony Richardson's coming out. Great win by Florida. A couple nice wins by Florida.
I do not think Anthony Richardson is going to go in the first round.
He's very, very young.
And he's going to come out?
I think he's a first-round pick. He's extraordinarily talented. But you know the NFL, they are obsessed with ability. They're obsessed with like physical attributes, right? Like and to be fair, everyone missed on Josh Allen by and large. From a college coaches missed on him. College scouts missed on him.
But Josh Allen had the arm and everything.
But his numbers were terrible at Wyoming.
It doesn't matter about the numbers, but to me is about his arm strength. I don't see Will Levis have that same arm strength.
I see a very similar, not like speed-wise, like athletic in the open field. I see two very similar scouting reports.
I feel like it's Tim Tebow. I think Will Levis is Tim Tebow.
I think his arm is way better than Tim Tebow.
Accuracy-wise or strength-wise?
Here's the thing. I am not taking Will Levis. Yeah. I don't think Will Levis is as highly rated as people think. Mel Kiper told me this weekend he will be number one on his overall big board. Number one. Now that I will disagree with.
Yeah.
But he gets his information from NFL scouts. He's like, I've talked to everyone in the league and they all love him. And I'm like, you guys can yell. This is the other thing here that's interesting. This is not a Levis conversation. This is Tennessee fans. I have never seen a fan base more obsessed with a football player than Tennessee people are with Will Levis. It is hilarious to me.
They're still they talk more about their ex-coach than Taylor Swift talks about any of his ex-boyfriends. They are obsessed with Lane Kiffin. If Zach Reagan goes without one day without tweeting about Lane Kiffin and bringing up Lane Kiffin out of nowhere, I'm pretty sure Zach Reagan will explode. He will cease to exist.
I am a Tennessee alumni who loves everything about Lane Kiffin. I love everything about Lane Kiffin. There's no reason. I've asked Tennessee people this year.
This is why it's hard for me to root for UT because I fucking hate their fans so much.
I can't. I was literally texting with a couple of my buddies who he can't go like 4 texts without bringing Will Levis into the conversation. And I think it's because and I talked about it on Twitter with a few fans too. I want to know why. And I think, number one, he's the quarterback who got overhyped. People don't believe in the hype. Tennessee whipped that ass. Tennessee also has a quarterback that they think should be more hyped than that. Does not get the same national conversation because he's not the same level of product or prospect as Will Levis. And Tennessee's riding high right now, so they don't like the fact that Will Levis gets conversation and Hendon Hooker doesn't. Even though it's
but is it the conversation that matters? I guess I don't
really. Think it does. I don't think
it shouldn't you as a UT fan. See, this is why UT fans fucking suck. They don't focus their rage appropriately.
I completely agree.
Because right now your focus and attention should be on being fucking awesome and being in the college football playoff thing and celebrating and talking about why you're there. Not worried about what some fucking loser at CBS Sports talks about Will Levis and puts him as number one. And not what Lane Kiffin is doing, if he's at get some manicure somewhere. Like they're like, oh, well, he's just thinking about UT. I bet he wishes at UT. Look, You're on top of the mountain. Quit punching down, you fucking idiots. God, wasting. They're wasting. They're wasting time.
I agree with this, and I asked somebody this. So she works in media in Knoxville, and I was like, "What?" She was like, so "It was like Ole Miss was playing somebody," and she's like, "I hate both of these coaches. Why? Who should I root for?" And I was like, "Why do you hate Lane Kiffin?" And I was treated like I had like grown a second head, and it's like, what do you mean? He left for his dream job 13 years ago and then got fired on a tarmac. Like, what are you talking? Like, who cares? Lane Kiffin is hilarious. He's funny. He's over there giving Alabama a run for his money. I know that you threw some mustard at him last year, but it was a great game. Yeah. And Matt Corral made a couple plays and Hendon Hooker didn't. That's the end of the discussion. I don't know. I agree. I think they focus their energy on the wrong things, and then they don't get any sympathy because they've done that.
Yeah.
Frankly, who cares what national scouts have to say about Will Levis? Like, who cares?
It's like when people talk about, well, Tennessee Titans don't get any national recognition. Yeah, welcome to the last fucking 20 fucking years since they've been in Nashville. They're not going to get any fucking recognition. Like, you just get used to it.
So congratulations to Mike Wright, by the way. I believe player of the week in the SEC.
Oh, wow.
Long touchdown run there. That's a really, really good win for Vanderbilt. We should have stayed focused on Vanderbilt.
We should have.
Although Vanderbilt fans probably enjoy us cussing in Tennessee, so it's fine. So congrats, Anchor Down, Clark Lee, all you guys. That's a really big win on the road against Kentucky. I'm not worried about Kentucky's program. I think it's just, Kentucky's program is what it is. It's stable. It's moving forward, but it's not ever going to be elite because you can't really win championships there. Otherwise, around the rest of the SEC, the Ole Miss Alabama game, I don't know how you felt about it. I thought it was a really entertaining game. I enjoyed myself.
Oh, I fucking hated it.
You hated it?
The Alabama LSU game?
No. Alabama, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss? That's what I meant.
It's a nice win.
I hated it. You know why? Because my dad obviously doesn't listen to or watch the show. Because he texted me. Yeah. Because he texted me exactly what I fucking said all week. Which he texted me out of the blue and he goes, "Yeah, I just really hate that we don't have an offensive coordinator to root for." I said, "Yeah, I've been saying that all week. Neither of our teams have an offensive coordinator." I hate watching Alabama play.
He's not good.
No,
he's not good. Bill O'Brien.
I did not enjoy it. I mean, I'm glad they won, but I did not enjoy watching it. And it's really hard for me to enjoy football this year, rooting for any of my teams.
Your new Carolina Panthers head football coach, Bill O'Brien.
Oh, thank God, please. Please take him. Someone take him.
Cadillac Williams, cool story at Auburn.
Yeah.
Big win for him. That's a really cool story.
And it's against Jimbo Fish. The only time I'll probably ever root for Auburn, just because I do like Cadillac Williams from a fantasy football standpoint.
LSU, congratulations on clinching the Western Division. Holy hell, isn't that crazy? We did tell you before the season that LSU was going to be much better than people thought.
Yeah, but if KJ Jefferson had played,
not this good. I think that we said that last week on the show.
You did, and he didn't play.
If he would have played, I think they would have won that game. That was not a pretty football game. LSU, by the way, 16-point underdog already to Georgia.
Woo!
In the SEC championship game.
Yikes.
No one is beating Georgia, folks. No one is going to beat Georgia. There you have it. I think that's about it.
That's it.
Congrats to LSU. Congrats to Tennessee. Congrats to Vanderbilt. The Titans. That's a lot of victories here on Monday. Of course, make sure you check out the pharmacy. Look at this. You got the currywurst, the knockwurst, the Jaegerwurst. You got, of course, the Poolander Oktoberfest there. You got the tots and the mustard.
Kingston Group. Poolander? It's Paul Lanner.
Is it Tennessee?
Paul Lanner.
Tennessee. What's the Volunteers' nickname? The Tennessee.
Oh, the Vols.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know that's what you were doing.
We're going to intentionally missay things. The Poolander. It's like the Poolan Weed Eater Bowl.
It's like a shitty Zoolander.
There was that one time you were sandwiched between the Finnish gnomes and the dwarves, and it was just like, psh, psh, psh. Oh, I'm not an ambi turner, Zach. All right. Kingston Group, Weiss Liquors, Pharmacy. Everybody enjoy the game on Thursday night. We'll be back at 10 a.m. on Friday to recap every single thing that happens, regardless of what state of mind I am in. Zach, where can the good people find you?
At F-Word Spot on Twitter. You can find me anywhere that you get your podcast, football and other F-Words. And, of course, you can find this show anywhere that you get your podcast as well, because we do this the next day as well. You got YouTube, at Broadway Sports, at 440 Sports. You have Facebook at those same two places. You can find me in all those places all the time. I have no life outside of doing this.
If you're wandering around Lambeau Field before the game, come find me. Shoot me a tweet or something. We'll come say hello. We'll get some. We'll talk to some Titans folks that made the Mecca journey.
Don't pop the brats though. He ain't gonna come.
Don't pop the brats.
If you pop the brats,
don't pop the brat. For Zach, I am Braden. Thanks for hanging out here at the Pharmacy on a Victory Monday. This has been a football show. Don't pop the brat, everybody.